Hello everyone, I'm North Hempstead Town Supervisor Judy Bosworth. In response to the COVID-19 pandemic, we have embarked on creating a virtual exercise series for our senior residents. We partnered with our Project Independence fitness instructors to host these virtual classes, which will allow you to stay fit and healthy by participating from the safety of your home. Please enjoy.
All right, good. Let's begin. Coming to yoga, we're going to start standing. So if you're seated, work your way to a standing posture. This way, people are standing. We're going to do some stuff standing, and we'll sit. Just as we do always, starting with the breath. Follow your breath all the way through the exhale. Empty as much air as you can, and then inhale. I'm going to break the breathing down. Yoga has 4 separate, distinct pieces to the breath. Starting with the exhalation, they have what I call a place in between the breath. There's a little maybe pause or transition to the inhale. At the top of the inhale, there's another separate distinct part of the breath, the pause between the inhale as we transition to the exhale. You may feel it's the space between from the exhale to the inhale and the inhale to the exhale is the same. Yoga does not consider that. They consider from the exhale to the inhale much more difficult and considered to be more risky on our health. And it's true, we do never want to hold the breath. They actually call these transitions the retentions. Advanced yoga practices will go into holding the breath. For our purpose, we keep the breath flowing, and we're going to bring our hands to prayer. And we'll chant the sound Om. Deep inhale, exhale, lower the hands down to the side. Inhale, taking the arms up alongside your ears. Okay, a little basics into the alignment. The legs are firm and they press down. The arms reach up. Maybe they come alongside the ears. Maybe they only come up halfway. But then we're going to lower the arms down. And we're going to do that again. Inhale, take the arms up. And I'm going to fold to the side. I take my hand down. I lengthen my ribs here. I'm bending into the side body. Inhale, I come up. Exhale, same thing onto the other side. It's the side of the ribs. I come up. And exhale, lower the arms down. This time we're going to take the arms around and up. Exhale, we're going to take a couple of breaths here. And then we'll begin to flow, moving from pose to pose with the breath. Exhale, lower the arms down. This time I'm going to take the arms halfway up, I'm going to turn to the side, getting a little bit of a twist, a rotation, and then turning to the other side. And coming back to center. Now to take the arms up over the head, you flip the palms to face up. Bring the arms up, and exhale the arms down. I'm going to turn to the side, and we're going to start to add on to this. Adding on a little bit to our posture. My ears, shoulders, hips are in a line. I'm going to inhale. I'm going to take my arms around and up. The exhale, I'm going to reach out. I want to lengthen my spine as I bring my hands down onto my legs, whether it's on the knees, the shins, or maybe you're onto the floor. The head relaxes down. I'm going to inhale. I'm going to come up halfway. And then on the next inhale, I come all the way up and lower the arms back down. I'm going to continue to add on to this. The inhale, my legs are firm. I'm pressing into the floor to take my arms up. Exhale, I'm reaching out and down, bringing my hands down towards the ground, fully folding. Inhale, I come up halfway, and this time I'm going to step back, one leg at a time into plank pose. Then I'm going to lower my knees down, gently lower until everything comes down at the same time. The common thing I see a lot of people do is they lower their hips down and then go down. Try to lower everything at the same time. Inhale, I'm just lifting my shoulders up. I'm using my upper back. My arms shouldn't be used. It's the upper back I'm looking to strengthen. Lowering down, I'm pressing up into the table like a little push-up. I curl my toes in. I'm pressing into my fingers, almost so like if you can get the feeling that the peels of the hand are coming up and down off the mat. My fingers, my arms are pressing down and forward. My hips lift up and back into a downward dog. Little by little, I'll give more and more details of this. There's so many things we need to do in this. The coming forward, you can walk your feet forward, you can run forward, coming back into this half forward fold. Two distinct forward folds. And then I'm going to go into the deeper one. As long as you feel fine in your back, your bones are strong, this is the more risky place. Inhale, I'm coming all the way up. Exhale, the arms down. Putting it together. Going through this simple movements that, when put together, can become quite a challenge. Inhale, I take my arms around and up. Exhale, I bring my hands down. Inhale, I'm going to step back with the other leg, making this lowering to the floor harder. I'm going to lower so I want everything to touch at the same time. Lifting up is the baby cobra. Maybe you're ready for the upward dog. And then we're going to go back again to downward dog. Remember, the hands are going forward and down, hips up and back. The head hangs down, the upper back, your shoulder blades. Draw your shoulders away from the ears. When you look back, you can either look between your legs, maybe you can get deeper and look towards your belly, engaging your core strength. I'm going to step the other leg forward, and then the back one follows a lot easier, and then lowering all the way in to my forward fold. Inhale, I come up. Exhale, I bring my hands back, just down through the center. I'm going to go through some standing postures. So I'm going to take a step out with my right leg, a wide leg position, setting up for warrior two. So however you want, I like my feet pretty wide for warrior two. My hands onto the hips. I'm going to turn to the right. I turn my back foot, just angle the back foot in. I turn my right leg out 90 degrees. Bend the front knee, Take the arms out to the side, shoulder height. And if you're looking at me, try to look at the fingers of your front hand. We're going to be here. We're going to just breathing. About 5 breaths. Again, the shoulders may want to come up. Relax the shoulders down. You're pressing down into the legs, and you lengthen your spine upward. Coming back up to center. You can bring your hands to the hips if your arms are getting tired. I'm going to go right to the second side. I turn the back foot in. I turn my front leg out 90 degrees. I bend the knee. Warrior 2. Relax the shoulders down. Press your legs down. Just make sure your knees are over the ankle as always. We're not overextending our knees. We just breathe, looking at your fingers, focusing and concentrating on your breath, on your fingers. Let's come up, parallel the feet, bringing my feet a little bit closer together. My hands onto the hips. I'm going to fold forward, keeping my spine straight. I'm going to bring my hands down to the floor. I'm going to bend my knees just slightly. Lower my head down. Again, 5 breaths. That's 2. 3. 4. 5. Coming up, halfway. Bring the hands to the hips. Let's come all the way up. Triangle poses. I like my feet a little closer than I do in Warrior 2. So you can see my legs are not quite spread out as much. And again, I turn the back foot, turn my front leg out. Legs are straight. Repeat the Trikonasana. I take my arms out to the side. Reach out and down. Either hand onto the knee, the shin, the floor, the foot. Your gaze should be at your top hand, the palm of your top hand. Inhale. Coming up, and I'm turning to the other side. Triangle pose, second side, reaching out and down. Again, 5 breaths here. Inhale for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Coming up. Hands to the hips. Okay, we're going to go into the other triangle pose. So I'm going to have to turn my hips from facing this way. Like imagine I have headlights facing right that way. I want my headlights to face that way. I'm going to turn my right, stepping out with my right leg. I step my left foot in. Legs again straight. Take my left arm up and I turn myself, and then I bring in my left hand onto the outside of the right leg. Going down only as much as you can comfortably. I take my right arm up. Inhale, coming up. I'm going to turn back to the other side. So I have to pick my feet up, turn to the side. I'm taking my right arm up, bringing it down to the outside of the left leg. You notice I slowly go deeper. See, I bring my hand down just below the knee. And then I turn more, take my left arm up. Eventually I can get my right hand to the floor, but the legs are straight. Inhale, I come up. Ooh, okay. Back to center. Okay. Another forward fold. I'm taking my arms out to the side. Interlock the fingers behind the back. I lift my chest. I arch my spine a little bit, and then I lower my head towards the ground. Inhale, I come up, bringing my feet back together. Okay. I'm going to come to a variation, an easier variation of the hand to foot pose, but revolved. Just, it looks like the triangle pose, just standing, but I'm going to come to actually my hand to knee. I take my right leg up, my left hand comes to the outside of the right knee. Oops, and then I'm going to turn. If you have a wall, this works really good. You can put your right hand onto the wall and twist. And then going to the other side, the wall not only can use to help get deeper, it also stabilizes you, but getting deeper, that's what's great. So I'm taking my right hand to the outside of my left leg, and I turn and twist. You're turning and looking over your back shoulder. The center and standing. Eventually you can do that holding your foot. Man, it's a lot of practice. We're going to move into the next part of our more of a workout. We're going to come to chair pose. I like my feet about hip width apart. The important thing is your hips come back. Sometimes I have a chair behind me just to show people that's the direction your hips want to go, should go. A lot of people want to bend their knees forward and do this, think that they're doing squats. That's only going to irritate your knees. You want to bring your hips back and down. Take the arms up. That's the big thing is the knees, keeping the knees healthy. A lot of people, they make the mistake of bending forward like this. You want to lift your chest up. Up. Okay. Next, again, a little bit of a workout. This comes from the Yoga Warrior One pose, but you see it in a lot of gyms. People will be doing high lunges with weights on their back. I'm just going to step back my left leg. I'm going to bend my front knee. As I bend my front knee, my left back heel comes up. That's okay. Now I'm going to take my arms up. High lunge. The big difference with this and the Warrior One is the back foot is grounded onto the floor. And then you start to do a little bit of a back bend. So there's really two main differences. Both of them sound simple, but they're quite challenging. Come deeper, I'm going to reach out, lengthen my arms away, almost like a warrior three. I'm going to bring my hands to the ground. I'm going to bend my back knee, coming into a low lunge. If this is too deep, you can bring your hands onto the front of, on the top of your bent leg. And eventually the hands can come to the floor, maybe the elbows maybe come to the floor. It's a big stretch for the back thigh, which is needed to get you into the warrior one. Lift the chest up. We want to think of that arching of the spine rather than rounding. I'm going to start to come back up. I'm going to curl my back toes in. I'm going to step it in just a little bit so I can get the foot to become flat. I'm drawing my right hip back so my left hip comes forward. I'm going to bend my front knee so it's over the ankle, and I'm going to take my hands to a prayer. I'm going to watch my thumbs. As I lift my arms up, I lift my chest up like my chest and is attached to my thumbs by a string. I try to lift the chest up. Activating, very active in your upper back. And lowering down and stepping forward. Okay, second side. I'm going to step my right leg back. I bend my front knee. My left heel comes up. I take my arms up. And this is the high lunge. Putting poses together to build to the warrior one pose. So again, I'm going to be hinging forward like I'm going through warrior three, but I'm keeping my back leg down. I bring my hands down. I gently lower the back knee down. Again, you got the options of being up here, bringing your hands to the ground. Even the elbows can come to the ground. So as long as you're feeling the stretch into this hip, this front of the hip, that's the important part. As we'll transition to the warrior three pose. A lot of talking for the hips and stretching the front of the spine. A lot of good things that can come from this. Going slowly. For some people, this can be quite challenging. So again, I'm bringing my back foot down, but my foot is still facing forward. Just turns out just a little bit. As I come up, I want to draw my left hip back so my right hip comes forward. I bend my front knee so it's over the ankle. Bring my hands to prayer. I take my arms up, following my thumbs, using my upper back. I open the chest. Coming to the warrior one pose. And coming out, coming back to the center. Okay, we're going to put these poses together into a flow. And we'll come to what's called the second Sun Salutation, Surya Namaskara 8. Starting with the first one, we're now working towards the second one. Much more difficult, more poses, more challenging. Moving with the breath. If you feel it can't maintain that, it's more important to breathe. I take a deep inhale. My exhale, I bring my hips down. As I transition to the inhale, take my arms up. I straighten the legs. Exhale, folding all the way to the ground. Inhale, I come up. I'm going to go back to plank pose. Some people may want to pause here and stay with the plank and then go to down dog. Some people may want to come through what we did before, the chaturanga, the push-up. Inhale, baby cobra or up dog, and then back to down dog and doing a warrior one on each side. Again, inhale and exhale. Taking as many breaths. With practice, it gets easier and easier. Because the hardest part is going from down dog to the warrior one. You may need extra breath at first. And we'll go to down dog, 5 breaths. And then coming back forward, you could walk again or step one leg at a time, jumping, floating. I fold over. Sit my hips down, take my arms up. Chair pose, lifting the chest. I'll come back to attention, where we started this. Our beginning posture. As we're going to work our way to lie on the floor, on our belly. So I'm going to lower down. I'm going to step back. I'm going onto my knees, lowering down, setting up for some locust poses. Grounding down. I bring my feet together so their legs are pressed together like there's one leg. My feet press down, I lift my chest, I take my arms back alongside it. And I'm lifting my shoulders up. It's not the head that lifts. And holding about 5 breaths. If you get tired, lower down. We're gonna do a few of these. I'm gonna turn my head to the side and lower down. Inhale. And exhale, take a couple of breaths. If you're finding this challenging, stay with the one we just did. I'm going to make it a little more challenging by this time interlocking my fingers behind the back. Press my tailbone back. Lift my chest up. My legs are active, they're pressing down. And turning my head to the other side. One more. Going back to center. I'm going to lift this time. I'm going to lift my legs up. If this gets to be too much, keep your hands down. If you want to make this really challenging, take the arms alongside of your head. Superman pose. Coming out, I'm going to come back up through to table into downward facing dog pose. Remember, the hands and arms are pressing forward and down, hips up and back, so everything is lengthening. Let your head relax down so this just tractions your neck. And drawing your belly in, maybe you can look towards your navel or between your legs. And we're going to come in, lower my knees down, cross my legs. I'm going to bring my legs out in front of me. My legs press down, my toes draw back. This is a very active place, particularly my legs. Notice the lower back. The lower back may want to round. Press your lower back in. Lift the chest. If your chin sticks up, make sure it's tucking in so that your chin is, the jawbone is level towards the ground. is we're going to do a couple more poses before we start to rest. I'm going to take my right foot into my inner left thigh. Ankle to, this is head to knee pose. But you want to think of lengthening the spine, keeping your spine long. I take my right arm up, I turn, I reach out. I reach my hand out as far as I can. Maybe it comes onto the foot, maybe onto the knee. Both hands come out. The left hand comes to the outside of the leg, or knee or shin. Important to keep the spine long. My arms are drawing back, so I lengthen my spine away. I'm just breathing. Coming up, returning back to center. And do the same thing on the other side. I'm grounding my legs. My legs are working. My lower back is going forward. So I'm really finding the posture, my engaging my legs. And then I come into the second side. Finding that posture, getting everything in the legs working before you come into the next pose. It's a great, you can just stay in that pose itself. It is a great place to practice. Teaching you strengthening the legs, grounding, posture. And releasing, coming back up into that pose, the Dandasana, the staff pose. We're going to come to what's called the boat pose, Navasana. I'm going to bend my knees. I'm going to grab the back of my thighs. I lean back, lifting my legs up. I press my lower back forward. My chest lifts up. If you want to make this harder, you can let go of your legs or straighten the legs, or possibly doing both. And it can go on and on. There's a lot of variations, but we're going to do one more of these. I'm going to show one more thing you can do. Cross the legs. I'm going to press my hands down, lift the hips up. Maybe you can lift the hips and legs up. Ooh, and seconds, do one more of those, any variation. You can be here with the legs bent, here, legs straight. A little bit more challenging, you can grab your big toes. Even more, you can grab your heels. The more you bring your chest and thighs together, the harder this is going to be. All right, let's release. I'm going to come onto my back, setting up for bridge pose. I'm going to do one bridge pose, and then I'm going to show another alternative, a little more challenging for people that want to do more. So I lower down. I can should be able to just barely touch your heels. I draw the belly in and I lift my tailbone up. And finding it's too difficult, if your back is hurting, come out. Maybe today's not the day. To go a little deeper, I interlock my fingers. I roll my arms underneath me. Just breathe. This is a very good pose. This is always the alternative to the other more difficult variations of the back bend. I'm going to release my hands, lower my hips down, and I'm going to roll on to my side. More difficult. It's look a lot the same, but it's going to be a lot more challenging. I'm going to bend my knees, I grab my ankles, and I lift my shoulders up. Maybe I can lift the thighs up into the wheel pose. Navasana. I press my feet into my hands, so maybe I can lift my chest up a little bit. I draw my legs in with my arms. Maybe I lift the thighs up a little more. If this is too much, boat pose. If you're finding this is okay, maybe you want to take a little pause and come into and do another one. I'm keeping my knees bent. And then I'm going to come one more of these. Again, I'm pressing into my hips. I press my feet into my hands, lifting my shoulders. I pull my arms back, lifting my thighs up. So yes, all this going on, but can you maintain that breath? If you're holding the breath, or if you're cutting the breath short, maybe today is not the day. Maybe stay with the bridge pose. I'm going to come out gently. I'm just going to gently release my legs, not letting them fly away. And I'm going to roll back onto my back. I'm just going to gently just drop my knees from side to side. Then I'm going to gently bring my knees closer to my chest, not all the way in as far as I can. I just bring them in just a little bit. I try to reach my tailbone forward so my tailbone stays down. Not moving from the extension to the flexion too quickly. So we need to do the counter poses. So I'm going to let my left leg go away, trying to draw my right leg in just a little more. My left leg presses down, my left heel reaches away. Maybe my right leg comes in a little closer. And I'm switching legs. So my left leg comes in. My right leg reaches away. Bring both legs back in. Maybe a little bit further than before. Slowly coming into the flexion, bringing my knees closer to my chest. This time I'm going to take my left leg away. I'm coming into a simple twist. I'm going to bring my right foot behind my left leg. My right hip lifts up as my left knee reaches to the floor. I'm using my left hand to just encourage it there to go towards the ground. My right shoulder reaches back the opposite way. Coming up, and I'm going to switch sides, taking my left leg in, stretching my right leg away. And I'm going to, again, taking my left foot this time behind the right leg. My left leg comes over to the right. My left hip has to follow. I'm using my right hand to encourage the knee towards the mat, the ground, but my left shoulder reaches back the other way. Coming back up. And bringing both knees in. We'll do one more stretch before we come to our resting pose. Bringing my left foot down, taking my right ankle over the left knee. Ankle to knee pose or figure 4. I'm going to take my legs in towards my chest. I'm going to grab either the shin or between the thighs. My shin is a little bit more of an intense stretch. Let your breath slow down. The slower, the longer the breath, the more calmness you'll get. Just release. And I'm going to switch. I'm going to bring my left ankle over the right. Bring in my right leg in. I'm going to bring my both legs back in again. Maybe now I can come in a little bit deeper. Maybe you can come into a even deeper round. I'm going to try to bring my nose between my knees. And then I'm going to release, come into the relaxation pose. Just going to stretch my legs, I let my arms roll open so my palms face up. I'm gonna just try to find relaxation. Sometimes you need to feel the opposite is, so you can firm your legs and then let them go. Squeeze the muscles in your arms and then let them go so they relax. Then squeeze the eyes, but then let them relax. You can even squeeze your face and then relax. I'm going to stay here for about 5 minutes and then we'll move on. Hope you have a great day. So like I say, stay for 5 minutes at least to get the relaxation. Bye-bye.